it's great to be back looking at the gospel ripples that we find through our reading plan. Good to be together with Micah here. And we just want to land in. We finished Deuteronomy and then jump into Joshua and so many good things. So Micah, share with us your gospel ripple.
Yeah, so what I saw was from Deuteronomy chapter 30, and it's this really cool, almost prophecy declaration that Moses has that really ripples into the rest of the Old Testament, into the New Testament. And it's interesting, what stood out to me was as Moses is giving the law the second time to the people of Israel, he basically says, it's not going to be enough for you. Jesus has something better, and Jesus provides something better in the new covenant. So Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 6, Moses says, "Moreover, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, so that you may live." And that language is then picked up later on in the story in Jeremiah, as he says, this is going to be the new covenant. So it's just really interesting for me because we see here continually pointing to Jesus, that he's the one with the newness and freshness that he brings as a fulfillment of all these prophecies. He's so much better than this old law, although it's necessary to point us to Christ. So just again, cool to see that even in here, before they're in the promised land, before they've even failed, God has this grand plan to bring about what he desires his people to be.
Yeah, and I love just one of the great things about doing this is just to keep on seeing the building of multiple scores of themes. And that's excellent. I remember reading this week too where the people said, or God said, I can't remember which, that just as they obeyed you, just as they obeyed Moses, they will obey you. Not sure if that was like a promise or a threat, because that didn't go too well. So just kind of made me, and mine comes actually as we get into Joshua, just that first chapter and the second chapter, that God just keeps faithfully fulfilling his promises. And we see him say to Joshua, "The Lord your God is with you wherever you go," which was actually the intercessory prayer of Moses when God was angry with the people, and Moses said, "If you don't go with us, we're not going. I'm not going." And so then when he hands the baton over to Joshua, one of God's promises to Joshua is like, "I will be with you. I will go wherever you go." So faithfulness to that then a non-Hebrew, the next chapter, grabs onto and says, "I now know who your Lord is. I've heard about him, and I want to be a follower of him." So Rahab, this prostitute from a wicked city and a culture that was really God-defying, then just trusts in the Lord. And I wrote down just a few things of her theology. She sees that the Lord gives and takes away. The Lord performs the supernatural. The Lord is personal Lord. He's creator, sustainer, and Lord of all. He provides salvation. He will judge the wicked, but he can deliver from death. And that was everything she told those men. I'm like, man, do we know that much theology? And she didn't even have a background to know that.
Yeah, that's really cool. What stands out to me from your observation is that Rahab is part of that fulfillment of the promise God gave all the way back to Abraham. Genesis 12, "Through you all nations will be blessed." And we see that ripple, getting a little bit bigger. We see Rahab being a part of that.
Yeah. God just keeps keeping his promises, and it's not just for the Hebrews, right? So what a blessing. We're included in that as Gentiles that can trust Jesus Christ. We've been given huge blessings, huge promises. And I want to just encourage you to keep on reading, and let's grow through God's word.